Good to see everybody. My name is Coach Micheal Burt. If you don't know who I am, I know some of you may. I have written 17 books. My newest book is called Flip the Switch, which will be out in 2022 through McGraw-Hill. So you'll see it in all the bookstores and all the airports. I spent a decade of my life as a championship women's basketball coach, taking kids from all walks of life, all socioeconomic backgrounds, one parent, two parents, no parents, broke, rich, and basically forming one of the national powerhouses in the United States at a school in Tennessee that won 7 of 9 championships. And then I retired from athletic coaching to coach business people. And Bob, I retired right in the middle of the '08 recession. And I don't know if it was the dumbest thing I've ever done or the smartest thing I've ever done, but I started my coaching business in '08. And what happened was, guess who the very first people to hire me were? Real estate companies, mortgage companies, big home builders. And they're like, we can't figure out how to sell one house, coach. Can you help us? So I got some keen insight when I very first came into the business. I got some very keen insight because I worked with some of the best people in the world. So I got to see how the best home builders built the houses. I got to see how the best real estate agents sold the houses. I got to see how the best mortgage originators financed the houses, how the insurance people insured the houses, the title companies did the titles. So for the first 3 years, all I really did was coach some of the best people in the world who were really in a tough spot. And they were trying to figure out how to sell a house. Now compare that and contrast it to today. It taught me a valuable lesson, guys. What takes years to build up can take seconds to tear down. We always go to bed tired and wake up hungry. We never buy our own hype. And we never, ever, ever get complacent. So we literally operate from a philosophy that it all goes to zero at midnight. No matter how much money you have in the bank account, no matter how much you have, I want you to pretend that you go to bed broke. I want you to pretend that you wake up broke every day so that you have the drive and the hustle to go get it. So there's 2 parts of what we're going to talk about today. One is how to improve your production. And I have helped agents go from 48 deals a year to 300. I have coached the #1 agent typically in several different states. Right now, I'm coaching, as you know, Jimmy Franklin, Jay Kinder, Al Stasic, Chris and Monica Dean. There's a number of other EXP people I'm coaching right now to help them go from A to B. So let's start with this simple concept. You're at A right now. A is your current position. Okay, it's the number of deals you're doing. It's the number of people in your downline, but you are moving toward B. B is some desired outcome you would like to manifest in your life. Okay, and there's going to be 2 B's, in my opinion. 1 B is going to be the number of real estate transactions you would like to do in a concentrated period of time. That's a B. Okay, the second B is how do you get to the big money? How do you get to the big money? That is some big B out in the future, because every day we need to be moving toward from A to B. Okay. Every day we need to be taking action toward an A. You may be frustrated. You may be irritated. You may be saying, man, I know there's a better way to do this than the way I'm doing it. I've seen other agents scale their businesses up. I've seen people go to 200 or 300 deals per year. How did they do it? What is your B? And then you've got a big B, which is going to be, how do I build passive income? And I don't care how long you run a business, folks, there will come a point in your life where you become incredibly desperate for passive income, where you are looking for your passive income to be greater than your living expenses, right? Isn't that our ultimate goal? Raise your hand if that's the ultimate goal for everybody on here. Okay. Number 1, if I ask you what your living expenses were today, could you even tell me to live at your current lifestyle? How much passive income does it take to exceed your living expenses? See, when Robert Kiyosaki wrote the book, Retire Young, Retire Rich, he was only worth $250,000. That was his net worth, but he had 2 apartment complexes. And those 2 apartment complexes kicked off more than $55,000 a year. And it cost him and his wife $55,000 a year to live. So in essence, he retired. He retired young and retired rich, but he didn't have $10 million. He just had more passive income than he did living expenses. Okay. So at some point, we're going to build this real estate practice, this business, and we're going to try to figure out how do we double or triple our current real estate transactions. That's where we're going to start. Okay. Then we're going to start thinking, how do I get to the big money? How do I get to 300,000 in passive income a month, 400,000, 500,000? How do I get to the big money? And that's going to require you to learn how to recruit. Can we all get an amen on that? Okay. It's going to require you to go out and get some more people, folks, because you don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. Okay. So today let's talk about first production. I come into every day and I have a target. My target is 25,000 a day. Okay. Annualize out. That's 125,000 a week. It's 500,000 a month. It's 6 million a year. That is in my coaching business. I also own an insurance agency. I also own a CRM company. I also own an accounting firm. I also own millions of dollars of real estate around the country. And I started as a high school basketball coach making $25,000 a year. Okay. And I wake up every day and I go, boom, how do I get to 25 grand today? How do I hit this number every single day? And so I step back and I go, okay, the purpose of the business, Victoria, is to produce a customer. That's the number one thing we should be doing every day. So I asked myself, man, how do I get to 25 grand? I got to produce customers, which means I got to solve problems. Money changes hands when problems are solved. The bigger the problem, the more money people will pay to solve that problem. Okay. People move houses. By the way, the average person is going to buy 4 to 7 houses in their lifetime. How many of those would you like to represent? Mark Engel, how many of those would you like to get? Would you like to get 1 or would you like to get all 7? How many of you have already bought 4 houses in your lifetime? How many of you used a real estate agent that never followed up with you after the sale of one of those houses? Yeah. See, 98% of real estate agents never call a client back once they put them in a home. See how dumb that is? If I told you you could represent me 7 times, the house I'm in right now costs $3.35 million in Watercolor, Florida. The average sale of a house where my house is in Florida is $2.1 million. That's the average where my house is. Okay. Now imagine if you'd have got that one, plus my house, plus the lodge I bought, plus these other properties I purchased. Imagine if you'd have represented me on all of those, how much commission you would make. If you just followed up with me, if you just engage with me, if you just, right? 98% of agents never call a client back in a meaningful way after the sale or after the transaction. The word transact means to discard. Okay. So a percentage of my day is engaging with people all day long. Okay. So I come into every single day and I say, man, all right, who's on my hit list today? These are the categories that I operate. Okay. I'm looking for 2 hours a day. And for 2 hours a day, I'm going to do nothing but focus on new money. Maria, can I get you to commit to 2 hours a day on nothing but new money? Okay. Remember, you ain't doing this for me. You're doing it for you, right? So 2 hours a day, I focus on new money. Let me tell you where that new money comes from. Number one, it comes from current clients. Current clients who introduce me to new people. Okay. If I said, Marita, is that how you say your name? Marita Corkill? That's an interesting name. If I said, Marita, have I helped you get to a better place in your life? And if I have, who else do I need to be helping? Right. So a lot of times I call current clients to introduce me to new people. Okay. It's as simple as this. Hey, Jimmy, man, I really enjoy working with you. I enjoy working with your son. Who else at EXP do I need to be working with? So Jimmy introduces me to Monica and Chris. Right. Next thing you know, boom. Now I got some new people to talk to. So I go first to my new clients. I mean, my current clients. And I start asking for introductions. Who can I help? Who can you introduce me to? How can you get me in front of more people? Remember, you don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. So sometimes I'm just looking to get in front of people. And if you solve a problem for those people, they will give you some of their money. Okay. Second group I go to, in your case, needs to be your past clients. So if you come into me and Shelly said to me, Coach, I don't have anybody to call today. I don't have anybody to work today. I'd say, Shelly, how many people have you served in your lifetime as a real estate agent? And she's going to say, oh, Coach, I've helped X number of people in my life. Okay. Let's go back to that list and let's engage with those people on a consistent basis. Even the ones you don't like. Okay. Because there's going to be some crazy ones you represent. You don't want to go back to them. And I get it. Okay. Let's go back and let's engage with those people. I've got a buddy who I coached to 150 million in mortgage production. He was a high school basketball coach. 7 years, he did 150 million in mortgages. Guess where he gets 35 mortgages a year? Courtney, he gets them from former high school basketball coaches. I said, you need to go right back to the group that loves you, that knows you, and you need to spend time with them. And there's 58,000 students in our school system where I live in Tennessee. I said, there's thousands of coaches. You were a coach. You should go back and be the official mortgage guy for every high school basketball coach and baseball coach and soccer coach and tennis coach in the whole city. And so he goes back and he gets 35 a year. 35 a year, making $4 or $5 grand a year, folks. That's a pretty good honey hole, right? So I go back to my past clients. Now, here's where the dude's really good, that we can all get better. The way he engages with people after the sale. He does 4 customer appreciation events per year. He has 200 to 400 people at those. He's getting the cousins, the kids, the friends, the aunts, uncles. He's getting referrals like you can't imagine because he's that good with the client. How good are you after the sale once the transaction is over? The word transact means to discard. See, that's the first place I go to work, man. When I get up for 2 hours a day, man, I just bang on people, call people, text message people, video people, follow up with people. Okay. Third group I go to is strategic partners. Strategic partners. Now, this is very important. Strategic partners are people that you need to be connected to that gives you access to other people. Okay. Now, I was just on the phone with Kevin Elko before I started on here with you. Kevin Elko is Nick Saban's coach. He is Saban's psychologist, and he has been Saban's psychologist for every championship Saban has ever won, at LSU, at Alabama, everywhere. Okay. And he and I are good friends. And he's like, okay, I'm here with this insurance group. I want to get you into this group. I'm like, I'm going to get you into this group. Let's send out a database blast. He's got 50,000. I got 50,000. That's a cross pollination of me getting in front of his 50,000, him getting me in front of his 50,000. And that introduces me to 50,000 new people. Jamie, you see where I'm going with this? So if I was a real estate agent, what I want is people. I need more people. You don't need money, you need people. So what I want to do is I want to have key strategic partnerships. So part of my day is spent calling on strategic partners. Let's you and I do something together. Let me introduce you to this group of people. Let's cross pot. You're in financial services. I'm in real estate. You'd be good for them. I'd be good for them. So I spend my time during the day calling on strategic partners. And the fourth group I call on every day are just direct leads, ever how you generate leads. And I'm a big believer that leads do not get worked to their conclusion. And I'd say Jimmy would probably second this. Most real estate agents only follow up 1 to 2 times on interested leads. That's the national stats. When every stat in America, Chris, tells me that it takes 7 to 15 touches 80% of the time to convert a prospect to a buyer. Okay. I did a transaction down here in Florida where the real estate agent made $84,000 on the sale of our house. How many times do you think she's followed up with me after that sale? 0. She hadn't called me one time. She never even said thank you. So when we went to get her new house, guess who I didn't use? I didn't use her. Okay. Now, how dumb is that on her part? She could have picked up the commission on a $3.35 million house if she'd have just followed up with me and engaged. If she just said, thank you, I appreciate you. It's good to work with. Thank you for the $84,000 check, coach. See how crazy this is? The reason I can see this is because I'm an outsider looking at your business going, hey, you're losing money because you don't work the leads to their conclusion. How many of you have a lead right now that you haven't worked to its conclusion? Think about this. How many of you have a recruit right now that you haven't worked through to its conclusion? There's somebody that's indicated interest in joining your team, being in your downline, but you haven't brought it to a conclusion, either in or out. You haven't gone 7 to 15 touches, man. Okay. Remember, I ain't losing this money because I'm going to go 7 to 15 touches. Okay. You got to make up your mind you're going 7 to 15. So every day for 2 hours a day, I typically do it from 9 to 11. Everybody in my office from 9 to 11 does nothing but prospect for new money. So we prospect in the morning and we solve the world's problems in the afternoon. Okay. So we do all of our operational things, customer service issues, marketing plays, but we got to get our prospecting in because prospecting are like vitamins, man. I got to take my vitamins every day. Okay. Now, who else do I work? I then go to what's called my red zone. And my red zone represents people who have indicated interest and they're real close to making a decision, but they haven't made a decision yet. Okay. So I want you to think of your red zone as people who are real close to making a buying decision, but they haven't made a decision yet. Okay. Now, this is very important. Like in football, there is a 20-yard line. I was doing an event with Hugh Freeze, and you guys may or may not know Hugh Freeze. Hugh Freeze is the head coach at Liberty now, but he was the head coach at Ole Miss. And he scored more touchdowns on Alabama, on Nick Saban, than any other college football coach ever. So I'm doing an event with him down here in Florida, and I pulled him outside and I said, man, tell me this one thing. What are you the best in the world at? Okay. Outside of illegal recruiting. Okay. Just kidding. Okay. He said he didn't know anything about that. Somebody on his staff did that. He didn't do it. I said, look, no judgment for me, Hugh. Just tell me what you're the best at. Here's what he said. I am the best at getting people scoring touchdowns inside the 20-yard line. That's what I'm the best at, man. We get inside, and that's called the red zone. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, boom, that's a great sales term. Who is in your red zone right now of people who have indicated interest? And when I say indicated interest, what's an interested lead? Folks, in real estate, if I go online right now and look at a property, am I interested in the property? If I go to a car dealership today and I look at cars, am I interested in buying a car? Yes or no? If you go online to my website and you look at my website, are you interested in some coaching? Yes or no? Okay, so an interested lead is a person that shows interest. Now, are they qualified? I don't know. We don't know. I've had people that make $3 million a year buy a $9.95 book from me. And we didn't know they made $3 million until we called them. And we said, hey, you just bought a book from Coach Burt. What do you do? Well, I'm a big mortgage originator in Michigan. How well do you do, man? I make, about $3 million a year. See, what if we'd have said that's a cheap person that bought a $9 book? We call everybody to gauge their interest. Now, here's the cycle. I initiate. Scott, this is Coach Burt calling, man. Thank you so much for showing interest. Where do you live in the world? And Scott says, I live where?
In Houston.
And live in Houston, Texas. Scott, I came to Houston, Texas, and I didn't know one person out of 6 million people until I met one dude. And it taught me the value of knowing one person that could introduce me to more people. I love Houston. I actually come to Houston about once a month. Now, Scott, the purpose of my phone call is I noticed you indicated interest. I got a real simple question for you. What are you trying to do? And at that point, Scott's going to say, I'm trying to sell my house and buy a new house. I'm trying to get a better mortgage. I'm trying to whatever I'm trying to do. Once I ask that key question, now I know what it is that you're trying to do. And now I know how I can help you. Remember that question. What are you trying to do? And just be quiet and let people tell you.
Let me, so that I can understand, because this is part of this I've gotten from any broker that I've worked with before in the past on how to handle these internet leads that are so plentiful. And it's like, I got 100 of them and I call, or I haven't called, because the majority of the time when I've called, I go into a voicemail. So I leave a voicemail message. I don't get a phone call back. At what point can I say, all right, we're done with that one? Because I keep hearing that you're never supposed to say you're done with an internet lead if you haven't made contact with them. And I'm like, well, but if you try and you exhaust and spend all your time trying to chase these leads and they're not ever getting back in touch with you, at what point am I going to move on?
All right. What I do when I call and get a voicemail is I do leave a voicemail, but I immediately also send a video text. So I put my phone up and I say, Scott, it's Coach Burt. I tried to call you, but man, I didn't get in touch with you. And the purpose of me sending this message is because you indicated interest in this, right? And hit me back, yes or no, you're interested. I'm not going to bother you because I know your time's important, like my time's important. But if you are interested, I'd love to help you. I have followed up. The biggest coaching contract I had last year was $500,000 with a mortgage company. I followed up for 1 year to the sales director of that company with nothing. He didn't respond one time. Every now and then I get a little thumbs up emoji. That's all he would do. That's it. Then one day, out of the blue, out of the random, he calls me. Man, I got a problem. Can you help me? And he wanted me to coach one manager And I said, man, why would you just coach one manager? How many managers do you have? Well, I got 6. Well, what, don't you want them all to get coaching? And if I'm coaching the managers, don't you think the salespeople need to get coaching? And yeah, yeah. And then the CEO said, if we're going to coach the salespeople, we should coach the operations people. And we took it from one manager to $500,000 contract. Now, should I have not followed up with him for a year? See, I make up my mind in the beginning if I'm going to go the distance with a person or not. And if I'm going to go the distance, I follow up 7 to 15 touches. Did everybody hear that? That's a national statistic. It typically takes 7 to 15 times, 80% of the time, to convert a prospect to a client. Now, once I go that many times, Scott, and I've got no response, I'm going to send them a video text. Man, I can't help you till you commit. Once you commit, I'm not going to let you fail. Have you noticed how hard I've worked to earn your business? Has anybody else worked this hard? Sometimes I say, joke with them. Are you okay? Man, I'm concerned about you. I called you 7 or 8 times, hadn't heard from you. And they almost always get back to me and go, oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm sorry. They apologize. Right. So I really want you to understand when it comes to these things, when it comes to follow up, I just want you to know there's so many leads that never get followed up correctly. Okay. This is true of recruiting too, guys. Okay. This is true of recruiting too. A person has to, if you study the law of diffusion, the law of diffusion says that only 16% of people are going to be open and inviting to an idea the first time they see it. That leaves 84% of people who have to see something multiple times before they take action on it. Okay. 16% need to see it 1 to 3 times. 34% need to see it 3 to 7 times. Another 34% needs to see it 7 to 15 times. And 16% of people ain't never going to see it. They're called laggards. Okay. We could substitute another word. They're called losers. Okay. Because they ain't getting on board. I don't care how good it is. They're too skeptical. So here's the deal. If it's true of sales prospecting, would it also be true of recruiting? If I present an idea to you, okay, my wife's a big health coach for Optavia, which is a nutrition company that I use to lose 30 pounds. I coach the #1 guy at Optavia. It makes about $7 million a year. And he called on me for 2 years. 2 years. I'm good. I was 30 pounds overweight, by the way. I didn't know it. I didn't think it until one day I was in Mexico and I'm like, man, I'm sick of being a fat ass. Excuse my language. I said, I'm going to get down 30 pounds. And I picked up the phone that day and called that dude. Now, let me ask you a question. He got me. Then he got everybody in my organization. Then he got my wife. Then my wife became one of the top coaches. Now, let me ask you a question. Should he have followed up with me for 2 years? Think about that. It's not the referrals, folks. It's the referrals from the referrals. So I spent a good percentage of my time on 2 lists. I gave you the hit list. Second group is the red zone and the farm club. And the farm club, Jonathan, represents people who have indicated some kind of interest. Okay. They've indicated some kind of interest. Okay. And I'm nurturing those deals. Now I could get into advanced nurturing. If I come and speak to Houston, and all of you guys were in the audience, and I captured your data in some way, then one thing I could do is nurture that, meaning send you X number of emails, follow-up phone calls, and I could nurture that. Okay. And that's more advanced selling. But if I were you, I would be doing that, man. Somebody comes into the system, they get a big hit up front. Then you're nurturing and following up with those people who indicate interest, because you never know. So the farm club, people that indicate interest. The red zone, people who are close. The hit list, anything that represents new money. Okay. Now let me give you 2 more, and then I'm going to move into another piece. I also have what's called a top 25. Now, let me go back to something I said earlier, Justin. I said, you don't need more money. You need more people. The people have the money. Okay. When I mentioned Houston, I first signed on a doctor in Houston named Stephen Hotze. Hotze owns the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. And he was the only person I knew in Houston, Texas. There's 6 million people in Houston. Okay. I said to Hotze after about 90 days, man, if this is good for you, can you introduce me to some of your friends? And he said, you know what we'll do? We'll have dinner parties at my house. I'll invite all my wealthy friends. You come in and talk for 15 or 20 minutes. It'll be good for me because I get in front of my clients. It'll be good for you. Now, we did over $500,000 of business from 2 of those dinner parties. Why? because one dude introduced me to 20 more dudes. And those 20 dudes had a net worth of 20 million or above. Now, here's the important concept. I have 25 hotsies around the country, 25 people that I engage with that are influencers who can introduce me to new people. Now, what's my strategy with those people? Just add value to their life. Just engage with them. I typically touch 3 a day. Okay. I touch 3 influencers a day. Today it was Dr. Elko. I'm doing this for Jimmy Franklin. Okay. And I'll have 1 more before the end of the day is over with. Okay. And I'll hit 3 of my influencers and bring some value to them to help them advance toward their B. Okay. And that's part of a bigger strategy because you don't need more money. You need more people. Okay. And so top 25 is very important. It's where all the money is. Okay. So think it could be your best clients, could be your best advocates, could be your top feeder systems, but these are people you need to be engaging with. When I'm not thinking about you, I'm not talking about you. When I'm not talking about you, I'm not referring you. When I'm not referring you, there's no flow of energy coming back to you. So you need high touch and high engagement with people. Okay. Now, one more thing. And I think Jimmy definitely gets this. I believe you should be doing events to activate energy in people. Okay. I believe that if you said to me, if Bob said to me, you got to take away all your strategies and you could only pick one to generate business. You know what I would say to Bob? Let's have events and get me in front of people. Because if I can get in front of people, I can get them excited. If I can get them excited, they're going to want to do something with this. If I was an EXP agent right now, you know what I would be doing? I'd be doing events to bring people together, to get people excited. Get your own team excited first. You get excited, get your team excited, and then bring other people into the fold, get them excited. Okay. And I would position by concept, meaning I would invite people to things where they're going to learn something and they don't feel like they're going to be recruited. They're coming to learn something. Okay. They're coming to get some. See, Jimmy came to something with Canal when we were opening a greatness factory in Houston. Right. And that was a great way because we had Keller Williams agents there and we had probably Remax agents there. And we probably had other agents there that came to open a greatness factory. They come to hear me speak. They come to support Canal. Then they get there and they're like, man, this is good. Like, man, we need to be part of this. My broker's not doing any of these things. I don't have any energy in my office. How do I get? So I call that the showcase event. And the showcase is where you're bringing people together and you're letting them taste the ice cream. And they like the ice cream. Now in Tennessee, I bought this big lodge, this big, beautiful lodge. And one of my best customer getting strategies is I have country music concerts there. I've had Randy Houser. I just had Lewis Bryce, which is Lee Bryce's younger brother. That's about to be big. And I have these concerts and I say, man, I'm having country nights at the lodge. Come on down. And people, all kinds, we had a billionaire come twice to these concerts. Now, if I called him up and say, hey man, trying to sell my coaching program, come on down to the lodge and we're going to try to sell you this program. What's the likelihood that he would come? See, in your business, if you put out there, man, this is a recruiting event, trying to recruit other agents, they ain't coming. You got to come up with concepts that people are attracted to. So here's a concept. If I came back and did an event for you guys in Houston, here's what I do. Person of interest. How to become the person other people want a piece of and can't live without. How to get 3,000 leads in 90 days. Fanatical follow-up. How to follow up 7 to 15 touches after the sale. How to double your book of business. I would come up with cool concepts and ask people to come to those concepts. I would have parties, social events. Man, I'd be doing all kinds of events, bringing people together. That's how you recruit people. Okay. And I like recruiting one to many, not one to one. Let's get 50 people in a room. Let's get 100 people in a room. And then let's weed out the people who ain't serious. So I routinely come to Houston. I do events for Canal Seth. We did one probably 2 months ago that had, I don't know, 100 people at it. And I walk around the group and I go, who you with? They'd say, well, I'm with Keller Williams. And I said, are you thinking about joining EXP? And they'd say, oh yeah. And I'd say, well, why? And they said, we don't have energy like this. We don't do events like this. We don't get value like this. They want energy, folks. They want They want something. They want training and coaching and development. They want somebody to help them, for the love of God. Close some business. Okay. I mean, so this is how we transition into recruiting. All right. Now, could it be true? Now, how many of you guys believe that the big money at EXP is in recruiting and building out your downlines? Raise your hand if you believe that. All right. How many of you are committed to that? Okay. Now, let me ask you a question now. This is where I'm going to get hard on you. How many people did you talk to today about joining EXP? How many have you talked to in the last week? How many events have you done? See, like that old basketball coach, I'm going to have to take you guys out back and run you around the parking lot. Because you're telling me one thing, but you're doing something else. You're like, oh, yeah, recruit, man. I want to make big money. And I'm like, well, how many people have you talked to about joining the team? How many events are you done? How many people on your hit list right now? You're never going to get to the big money, folks. Can I be honest with you? Because some of the people I'm coaching, you know how much money they're making? $500,000 and above in passive income. Okay. Now here's the deal. That's big money. That's the big boy, big girl money. Now, how much time do you think these people spend on recruiting every day? How much time do you think they spend focusing on getting to the B? Remember, I don't care how many real estate deals you're doing, 100, 200, 300. It's never going to get you to the level that you can get to if you go out there and recruit great people and build a big organization. That has got to be your B. The reason you got an EXP, I'm assuming, is for all the benefit, the collaboration, the stock options, the passive income. Okay, so if we never move toward B, and B is building passive income, why do you think I started an insurance agency? Okay, that's going to have 1,000, 2,000 agents in it to start off. Why? It's passive income. I can just coach my little agents. Okay. So my point to you is you got to think like I'm thinking now, which I didn't think like for 20 years. I used to think transaction. I'm going to coach and I'm going to get a fee. And then I would help people go out and make $2 million more and I'd still get the same fee. And then Jonathan, one day I woke up and I'm like, no, how do I build something special? And I'm getting an override and a residual on all the production of these people. And I'm sprinkling my little fairy dust on them, Bailey. What I'm doing is I'm coming in and giving them the coaching they need to go play at a higher level. I'm bringing my talent to their organization and helping them be successful. And the more successful they are, the more successful everybody's going to be. And then we're going to get into the big money. And we're talking about millions of dollars here, not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So everything I just showed you is also a recruiting system. Every day I got a hit list of people I'm recruiting. Every day I got a farm club of people who have indicated interest. Every day I've got a red zone of people who are right there. And if you got somebody that's right there, here's what I suggest. Let Jimmy get on the phone with them. I call that your blue marlins, your red zones, and say, hey, man, I'd love you to talk to Jimmy Franklin. I'd love for you to spend a few minutes with this person. I'd love for you to tag team these people. Don't just hit them in one way, linear, the same way. Give them data. Show them success stories. Show them excitement. Invite them to something. Open their mind to possibility. So here's what I got. Every day I got a hit list. Every day I got a farm club. Every day I got a red zone. Every day I got a top 25 that I'm nurturing. And every day I'm planning events. Okay. Now let me give you two types and then we'll take some Q&A. Every day you're either fishing for bluegills or you're fishing for blue marlins. Okay. If you're fishing for bluegills, you're fishing in the local lake there in Houston. Okay. If you're fishing in the Gulf of Mexico, you're fishing for blue marlins. Okay. And blue marlins are big, influential people. Okay. Now here's what's funny. When I started that insurance agency, I got a phone call from every major insurance person you can imagine. I'm talking all of them. Like, oh, how do we get involved? What do we need to do? How can we partner with you? Because they knew the magnitude of how big. I didn't have to call them. They called me. And they're like, how do I get involved here? I got 5,000 agents in my downline. How do we get them involved? Right? Like it taught me a valuable lesson, man. When you're doing something big and exciting, and you got a big mission, and you got a clear message, and you got a lot of movement, people want to be involved with it. Okay. If you're not attracting people right now, the market is telling you something. It's telling you, you don't have a clear message. You don't have a big mission and you ain't got a lot of movement. So it's you and some small team, but you can't get to the big numbers there. So I really want to encourage you, use what I taught you today for the production, but also use it for the recruiting. Okay. And we talked through the explanation of service. That's one thing we talk about, 6-step framework, and how you tell a story, how you articulate your value, and how you give a compelling reason people should join EXP. Okay. All right. What questions do we have, folks? Where can we get better? Let's talk about that part. Chris, where can we get better? Feel like we're friends?
Well, so you make a lot of good points as far as, urgency and really, prioritizing the effort. I don't think there's any doubt that the best opportunity at EXP or anywhere really is recruitment and revenue share growth. The urgency, I think, is what I'm taking away from this. And I do a lot of talking about, wanting to do it and wanting to get better at it. But, we're doing some things, we're taking some baby steps, but, the urgency is really what I'm focused on right now. So I like what you're talking about, carving out, 2-3 hours a day to dedicate to making phone calls and, and getting that excitement level up.
Okay. Now, this is very important. Here's what I noticed, because I've been coaching people for 30 years. If you don't set things in, if you don't have a clear B, if you don't have the clear B, then you're going to wake up 10 years from today and be a really good real estate agent, but you're never going to get to the passive income that you really want to get to. The B has got to be passive income. Now, here's a good exercise I want you to do. I want you to sit down, maybe with your accountant or you, and figure out exactly how much it costs you to live at your current lifestyle. And I want you to see how much passive income it would take to exceed your current lifestyle. Okay. And that's where I want you to start. Okay. How much money does it take you to live your current lifestyle? And if your passive income can exceed your current living expenses, you're wealthy. Okay. You don't have to work really the rest of your life if you don't want to, if you can keep that up. So this is very important. Most agents just keep chugging along, chugging along, chugging along, chugging along. They never really think about B. This is why very few agents have retirement. It's why they don't have any income at the end of their life, because they're working for a transaction fee. And you got to step back and you got to start thinking bigger than this, guys. You got to start thinking about an entrepreneur. You're a businessman or a businesswoman running a business that gives you excess cash that you can reinvest. Okay. All right, Jimmy. Talk a little bit about what you're seeing here with this and how this can help this group. Because I'm a coach, guys, so I'm real intense and I'm real positive. So don't feel like I'm beating you up. I'm just trying to, this will wake some of you up 5 years from today when you got a bunch of passive income. You'll remember this little bald-headed pit bull that came into your life. And you'll be like, thank God Jimmy brought that little pit bull in. It woke me up to get out of the transaction business and get into the big money. Jimmy, what's striking a chord for these folks?
So Coach Burt's point here is I think is a really good one, that the fundamentals of becoming a better producer, and most of the people in this group are very good producers. You've done things to do that, and the fundamentals are pretty much the same in attracting people and bringing people to our company. In fact, in a lot of ways, it's easier because these guys are right out there, as plain as day. You know who they are. You don't have to go to some lead generation thing and find them. They're there. So to me, that's the thing. And this idea that, you can't do one without, because you can't do one because you're doing the other. We can all walk and chew. I think we can all chew gum and walk at the same time. There's not some kind of a thing like, well, I'm producing, so I can't recruit, or I can't bring people to this company. I don't get that. I don't understand that mindset. So I think Coach Burt's point on that is the same. And you don't have to turn it into you're only doing one thing. You're only recruiting. Obviously, you have to pay your bills this month. in next month, but a fairly, insignificant amount of time can be spent 3 hours a week, something like that. That could do a world of good. And just a reminder again, when I was at Maria and Natalie's event last Friday, I pointed this out. We're at the fastest growing company of all time, fastest growing brokerage of all time. In the 3 years I've been there, we've gone up 6 times, 600% in an era where these brokerages quit growing a decade ago. All of them, none of them have grown anything. You name a company, none of them have grown, except Compass. They obviously were new. But I mean, for the most part, most of these companies that we all knew and a lot of us worked at quit growing a long time ago. And we've grown that much, yet there's, I don't know, what is there, 13 or 1,400 of us in Houston, and there's 43,000 agents. So there's a lot of people that really should be at EXP and can and will eventually be at EXP. So there's no reason that you can't be responsible for them coming. They're going to come, so it might as well be you to be responsible for their coming this direction.
Yeah, and the reason this exercise is so valuable is that at some point, no matter how long you do this, guys, there's going to be a revelation you have, and the revelation is, how do I get to the big money? And the revelation is, the only way to do that's with people. The only way to do that is off overrides. The only way to do that is in revenue sharing. The only way to do that is so at some point, part of your B should be a goal for everybody. Man, I'm going to get my passive income greater than my living expenses. Then there's no pressure. You don't have the pressure in the morning to wake up and feel like you got to work. You don't have the pressure, feel like you got to make phone calls. You don't have the pressure. Like, it's such a good place to be. I've coached the number one guy at Optavia, number one guy at Herbalife, number one guy at Zija. A lot of direct selling models. And I'm talking about the people making 7 to 10 million a year. And they are at the point now, they had to embrace the suck for about 5 years, 5 to 7 years. They embraced the suck. They built their teams. Then now all they do is spend their time coaching their people, typically in places like Cabo. All right. So every other weekend they're going to Cabo to coach their top people. All their little troopers are doing all the work, and they're making millions of dollars. And I've coached all those guys. So I've been able to see this is how you build it. And typically you don't need 100 people. You need about 8 to 10 studs in the shed. Okay. And that's all you need, guys. You don't need hundreds and hundreds of people. You need a core group of great people. And you don't know who those people are going to be. How many of you have somebody on your team that's great and you never thought they'd be great? You know, how many, right? It's like that you never know who it's going to be. It's like, man, I'd have never picked that person to be that good at this, but they are. So I'm telling you, start moving towards your B where you are in your life. I'm 45 years old. For 30 years, I've been working 80 hours a week, every week, right? When I was a basketball coach, at some point I woke up and said, you know what, how do I build things? How do I build things where there's thousands of people versus just get a transaction fee like you do on a real estate transaction? How do I build something residual and recurring? And it's never going to happen until you take a step toward that. So it's just never going to happen, man. I want you to take the step toward it to build that wealth for you. All right, Justin, how did we do today?
Absolutely fantastic. I appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
I appreciate it. If you've ever had a good coach at some point in your life, man, know this: a good coach will have conversations with you that you don't want to have.
I love it.
They'll make you do some things you may not want to do, but a good coach will help you become something you never thought you could become. Okay. So I'm excited about working with you guys, seeing you more. I'm open to doing events with you in Houston. I wrote down on my notes, we should be doing an event called Person of Interest in Houston, where each one of you I come in and speak. Each one of you invite X number of people to it. The concept's strong enough. It's one of my biggest concepts, how you become a person of interest. It's a great concept. Fanatical follow-up is a great concept. And then you invite people and they don't come to be recruited. They come for the concept. Then they get recruited on the back end of the concept. Okay. With your follow-up with them, man, did you like that? This is the kind of stuff we do for our team. This is the kind of collaboration we have at EXP. These are the kind of coaches we bring in. at EXP. You don't see, Chris didn't know I was going to be there in Houston when he came to the Greatness Factory that day. He just came to the Greatness Factory with Kanal. Well, if he got there and let's say he worked for Keller Williams and he goes, man, I like this. I like these people. I like this energy. That is one huge step toward recruiting him. Fair to say? So I call it tasting the ice cream. Is you don't lead with your core product. You don't lead with, I'm here to recruit you. You lead with value, and you let them come to the conclusion that they like the value enough that they want more of that value. Okay. The reason all these insurance people were freaking out because they saw me as a direct threat. As soon as I said I'm getting into the insurance business, they're like, oh my God, he's going to recruit all the insurance agents. Well, here's what I'd tell them. They need to get better. If they're worried about me recruiting all their agents, they should just get better at recruiting agents or keeping their agents, right? Shouldn't be mad at me.
Hey, Coach Burt, were you stalking Shelly and Chris in Nashville? Is that how you?
Yeah, I had a GPS tracker on them, and when they came into Nashville, I tracked them down on Fifth Avenue.
That's what I thought.
Yep. So listen, this has been great, guys. Jimmy, I love working with you. You're a good man, number one. Number two, what you've done, it's been fascinating. And man, you're building a great team. I want to be more involved with you. So I hope today's not the end of our conversation, but the beginning. If you want to get more on that flip the switch, I'm going to give you a breakdown of that. Just text that number and I'm going to send you 2 days of me breaking down how to activate your pre-drive. It's very powerful. And if you want to do something with me, just email me coach@coachburt.com. And I'd be happy to spend some time with you. Eric White on my team will reach out to you. If you got teams of people you want me to work with, or we want to do an event in Houston or wherever you are, then I'm certainly open to that. You don't need more money, folks. You need more people. So I want to thank you guys for having me today and hope this is valuable for you.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Go out there and crush it.